More adults over 45 are feeling lonely than ever before. It can affect your health, your happiness, and how fulfilling your retirement years really are. Today we'll talk about why loneliness is more prevalent in those 45 and over, who it impacts most, this might surprise you, plus practical, realistic ways to reconnect and protect your health and happiness in retirement. Hi, I'm Molly Nelson here with Anna Marie Morrow and Loren Merkle, and you sit down with people every day and they're getting ready for this really exciting time in their life, that is retirement. But Anna Marie, I know they sit across from you, talk to you, and they are concerned about some level of loneliness as they take this next step.
And they don't necessarily use that word loneliness, but there is a real concern of, what am I going to spend my time doing? I think maybe I should continue to work because of that impending. What am I going to be doing? And I think loneliness is the underlying issue regarding retirement when they don't have that built into their plan.
And Loren, you've been doing this for over 20 years, and these kinds of studies probably don't surprise you too much because you also see that shift from the working years to the retirement years and these concerns.
Well, I really think my entire career has been a case study in some degree relevant to this. I mean, I think we're really uniquely positioned as an organization because as a retirement planning firm, we primarily work with those who are within 10 years of retiring or already retired. And once we get to know people, the conversations transition more from the financial aspects to everything else that's going on in their life. And if you think about this time frame in your life, you're going through a lot of transitions. You're going from transitions of the kids getting out of the house, being on their own, and now you are, the house is a lot more empty, you feel a lot more alone because of that, and you have way more downtime than what you've ever had before, especially once you make that final leap into retirement, and now you don't have to drive to work every Monday morning. So there's a lot of emotions that go into this, and loneliness, I would say, is at the top of this emotional list.
Yeah, and one thing we want to talk about today is that retirement isn't just about money, it's about connection, purpose, and well-being. So let's get into the study so we can bring some awareness to this issue for the people that are watching today. So it's an AARP study. It's the AARP 2025 Loneliness Survey. And here's what it found. That 40% of adults 45 plus are lonely. That is up 35% from 2018. It's the highest level since the survey began in 2010. They surveyed about 3,300 Americans. So here's why we want to talk about it. Awareness really does matter. Many adults don't identify themselves as lonely. When loneliness is measured using a standardized scale, the number is higher than self-reported loneliness. It's the perception versus measured loneliness. About a third of adults say they feel lonely, but when asked more questions about connection and isolation, 40% meet the criteria for loneliness. So the loneliness is often very subtle and can feel a little bit like isolation. We know, and we've talked about on the show, Loren and Anne Marie, that some of the happiest retirees find purpose and connection. I know you've seen that yourself firsthand.
And this is why I think it's important that I like this study because it's using that word loneliness. I think what we hear the most is boredom or what am I going to spend my time doing? But knowing that loneliness is really at the root of all of this, that makes this a big top priority of concern. Mostly, when we're talking about retirement planning or anyone's thinking about retirement, it's always, do I have enough money, right? Investments, which of course are a big piece of it. But what are you focused on building this plan, this retirement for? What do you see yourself doing in retirement to avoid that downfall of feeling that loneliness or boredom, which is what we hear a lot about?
Well, and this phase of your life is so different than any other phase. And oftentimes there's not as much activity that just happens to us. When we're raising kids and we're going through the working years, there's a lot of activity that just happens.
It's scheduled for us. I am feeling that right now. I'm like, oh, what does my weekend look like? Oh, this, that. Oh, none of my stuff. It's someone else's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we go through these transitions, the activity is now more incumbent upon you to define and to make sure that you put in your life. And that's different than what we've ever had to do before. And it doesn't necessarily come natural to everybody. And I think why loneliness is underreported is because when you ask somebody, are you lonely, Anna Marie? Are you lonely? Do you want to say yes?
Yeah, right.
You are lonely. And subconsciously, you might have all the feelings that are associated with loneliness, but it hasn't bubbled up to the surface in a way that you can, one, understand it, or two, even want to talk about it or be able to talk about it.
Yeah, and you just hit on something that the study did go into a little bit when they asked some experts to look at the numbers, and they said that there's a stigma. There's a stigma around the word lonely. So no one wants to raise their hand and say, I'm lonely, but you really eloquently identified this as it could be a loss of connection, a loss of purpose. And that's all the stuff that's really important in retirement. And that's why it's probably kind of surprising to people that you guys help people plan for retirement, but you talk about this kind of stuff and that we're even covering it on the show today.
This is why it's the first question we ask when we sit down with couples or individuals for the first time. The first question we ask is not, oh, what are you invested in or what do you want to invest in? It's, what do you see yourself doing in retirement? Because that is laying the groundwork of how we build out the plan to support your lifestyle vision. You know, hoping to safeguard and prevent that feeling of loneliness or boredom or whatever adjective you want to use. Let's build and support a plan to avoid that windfall.
When we say we do comprehensive planning, we mean we're comprehensive retirement planners.
Right.
The lifestyle is where we have to start, because you can have all of the money in the world. It's not going to bring you fulfillment or joy like you thought it was when you were disciplined and sacrificing and putting this money away, if you don't have a more redefined purpose. You've always had a purpose. That purpose looks different in retirement. You have to refine what that purpose is in order to really be able to enjoy the hard, disciplined sacrifices you made for the last 40 years.
We'll talk a little bit more about the study, who loneliness impacts most, and we'll talk about defining your purpose of retirement, because that's the exciting part. We'll cover it next. Welcome back to Retiring Today. I am Molly Nelson here with Anna Marie Morrow and Loren Merkle. Loren is a certified financial planner, a certified financial fiduciary, and a retirement income certified professional. And Anna Marie is the director of Medicare and long-term care here at Merkle Retirement Planning. So we're talking about an AARP loneliness study, not only to bring more awareness to loneliness, but hopefully to reduce the stigma, because it's an important thing to talk about as you enter retirement. So here's a little bit more from the study. This is maybe a bit surprising for some, but the study found that men are lonelier than women. This is that AARP study that we're citing here. 42% of men report feeling lonely, compared with 37% of women. A shift from past surveys, actually, when men and women were equally as lonely. So just kind of interesting, bring some awareness to some of these facts about loneliness. Let's talk a little bit about loneliness and age. So nearly half of adults age 45 to 49 report loneliness. The rates do drop, though, steadily in the 60s, 70s, and beyond. Older adults often develop stronger support social systems. And one last fact I want to throw at you guys that we can react to here is work and identity. 57% of non-working adults feel lonely, compared with 40% of working adults and 34% of retirees. Loss of daily structure and purpose can play a role. And this, again, is something that I think you found out early in your career as you help people plan for retirement.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting anecdotes of doing what we do. We get to work with people through all of these different transitional phases, and we get to know them really well. So they open up about a lot of the things they're thinking about. And literally, just like I was talking about before, we can spend more time in a plan review visit, where traditionally you would think we would be going over your income sources and what does the retirement look like 10, 15, 20 years down the road, the tax planning strategies, which we do, by the way. But a lot of that visit can be consumed by all of the other stuff going on, which I love, by the way, because if we can be there in some capacity to help people through these transitional phases that are unique to them, in their life, experiences that they've never had before, and they have questions. And I think one of the benefits that we can add is we have the insights from many other couples who we've seen go through these phases before, and we can share anecdotes from their experiences. We can share learnings from their experiences that we can pass on to others. I think it's a valuable part of the retirement planning process, because this is why you do retire, the lifestyle. To have fun, to enjoy the freedom that you have of time, which you've never had before. And if you can't fully enjoy that, then it really diminishes the importance of what you've done all these years to save, to allow yourself to not have to go to work on a Monday morning. So it's an incredible vantage point that we have, an opportunity that we have to pass on learnings from many other couples who have gone through the same thing.
And I'll share, I met with a couple recently, and they've been through retirement just about a year now. And I remember sitting down with them when they were both approaching retiring right around the same time. He was a lot more concerned than she was. So hearing that statistic about men tend to be more lonely than women, I definitely saw that in this couple. He had the concern, what am I going to be spending my time with? And then I met with them just recently, and it was their first year in retirement. And he said something to me that really stood out. He no longer was scared on Sunday afternoons. Not scared necessarily, but he had that freedom of enjoyment. They focused together on being involved more with their family and their grandkids, and they eased into different activities throughout their first year of retirement. And looking back over the course of that year, he found a new purpose outside of what he was doing, that identifying with going to that, more than 9 to 5 job that he was working, and he recognized that he's now enjoying Sunday afternoons. He got to enjoy those football games. He's enjoying his life as he settled into the routine. It wasn't as, I'm jumping in day one of retirement and I've got all these things to do. It was enjoying the process over that first year and seeing where it all fit in.
And you got to think he's in better health if he's not sitting there on Sunday worrying about Monday coming. And there is a correlation between finding purpose and health. It's covered in the study as well. They found out that nearly 6 in 10 adults with poor physical or mental health report loneliness. Loneliness and health often reinforce each other. Loren, earlier in your career, you identified this connection, this purpose, and how it is important. And it's been really cool for me to see over the last 10 or 11 years that we've been working together, that we've built these events that are they're so popular, and they help people build connection.
Because there certainly is a correlation between the mental health and the physical health. They all work together, and I feel like it's really difficult to have one without the other. And if you have better mental health and you feel more purpose around your day and you're excited to get up to go through the next day and all the adventures that take place, your physical health will follow. I believe that is very true. So these events that we put on, I feel like we almost have the obligation, because we work with so many people in a like situation who have similar interests, to bring those people together. We work with about 1,000 different families who are going through some of the same situations. They have the same concerns. And one of the things I really like about these events is, and this happens every single time, we get a group of people together and they talk with each other. And maybe somebody who starts with us early on, they go to one of these events and they start looking around. They're like, wow, there's a lot of people in this room who look a lot like me. And then they start having a conversation with them. They're like, wow, they are going through the same thing that I'm going through. They have the same concerns. They have very similar thoughts about what they want their future to look like, and those connections just bind. They just happen, and it's very organic. People are exchanging phone numbers. They're getting together on their own time, and I really love that, because socialization of people. I mean, we are very social creatures, and it does help every aspect of our life if we can associate with people who enjoy similar interests and are in a similar phase of life. There's an article that I recently read where 7 really good friends, retired together, pooled their money together, bought a house, and moved in together. Because they don't want to go through retirement alone. They want to go through retirement with people who are meaningful to them, and they built their own social network for all of the reasons that we're talking about right here. Now, not most people aren't going to do that, but if we can help in some way to connect people in a similar situation with similar mindsets, it's a really powerful thing.
I think one of our favorite things that we hear coming out of these events is learning how many group text chains there are forming outside. And that honestly that's one of the most rewarding things to hear, is all those connections being made.
Okay, so these events, they're lifestyle events. We hold them up about every month. We have a lifestyle event for the families and individuals we serve, and they can bring along a friend. So I want to give you some examples so you can visualize the kinds of things maybe you'd like to do in your retirement, or the kinds of things that the families and individuals we serve have available to them. So for example, this is just in the last year or so, we've volunteered at the DMARC Food Pantry. We've played pickleball. We've been to the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates downtown. They've designed floral arrangements together. They've been to an iCubs game. They've played bingo. They've listened to the Freedom Rock artist, Bubba Watson, the Jasper Winery, Meals from the Heartland, we volunteered there as well, and they rode the Boone and Scenic Valley Train. I wanted to mention those because we have all those beautiful pictures we just showed, and I saw a lot of happy faces at those events.
Well, we work really hard to include something for everybody. So there's an assortment of different activities, and that assortment is going to continue to vary. And one of the things we noticed, we've been doing these events on a regular basis for, I don't even know how many years, 6, 7?
Several, yeah.
Many years, and over the last few years, they have really grown in popularity as a lot more people have transitioned into retirement, have more free time, but they've also grown accustomed to going to these events, meeting new people. They understand the value of them. And so we've had wait lists for a long period of time, and now we're going to start doubling up, get rid of the wait list, and it'll just allow more people to enjoy these events and each other.
And I like that you said we have something for everyone, because something we heard right out of the gate when we started doing these events is they were scheduled during the time of day where only really retirees, people who had already retired, were able to attend. But people spoke up and we listened, and now we do have events for everyone on their schedule. If people are still working, if you're still working, you're getting ready to retire, we also have evening events. So you can start getting a taste of what it's like to become involved. Get on some of these group text chains that we hear, which is phenomenal. But now it's never too soon to start preparing for retirement, as well as within the social interaction aspect.
Next, we'll talk about technology, social media, and how to break the loneliness cycle. Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Anna Marie Morrow and Loren Merkle. We're talking about the groups, the lifestyle groups, all the fun events. But Loren, just a couple of years ago, really, we identified that we needed to add more than just those fun lifestyle events.
We did, because there's a lot more that happens through the retirement phases than just fun. I mean, people go through some really challenging times, and really challenging emotions take place with those really challenging times. And so over the years, as we've gone through those phases with our families, we said, hey, let's create some structure. Let's create some organization around getting people in those similar situations together so they can talk with one another. We have a licensed counselor, Kathy Koenig, who comes in and facilitates a lot of these groups. But people go through some real situations. They lose brothers, they lose sisters, they lose spouses, they lose parents. They give care to people who they care about when they are ill. There's a lot of a lot of emotions that are tied into all of those different types of events, plus more. Why not get people together and talk about it in a structured way to really help work through those feelings? And it's been an amazing experience, not only for the people who go through that, but for us as we get to witness the emotional transition from one phase of those types of events to the outside of those phases.
Some of the feedback that I've heard from these groups, specifically the Healing Hearts, which is for widows, is that, you know, when you go through one of these major life-changing events, your normal social circle might not necessarily know how to respond to the hard days, right? Or to the feelings that you're having because they haven't gone through it themselves. So some of the feedback that we've received from Healing Hearts is when they're having a particularly hard day, they drop a text in the group text and they're all there for support. Even as simple as, I need to drill something. A piece of wood on my deck is coming apart. What drill bit do I use?
Sure.
And sure enough, those that have been through it, they are there for that support. They understand. And seeing that emotional connection and support has just been overwhelmingly positive and impactful.
And here's a look at the names of those groups. We have the Caregiving Circle. This is for someone who could be taking care of an aging parent or a spouse who is not in good health. We have the Embracing Grief Group. This is for those who are experiencing loss of a loved one or grief, maybe by the way of a job loss or a divorce. And then we've got Healing Hearts. This is a widows group for women who have lost a spouse. Let's look at technology in the study. This was interesting. Technology, according to the AARP study, is a bit of a double-edged sword. Here's what they found out. 53% say social media helps them stay in touch, but 59% say online communication makes them feel lonelier. So this digital connection, it can't fully replace in-person relationships. We know, you've seen how important these in-person relationships are. And I think the takeaway as we kind of wrap this up is that you kind of have to plan for them. It's like retirement, Anna Marie. The connection doesn't just happen by accident. You've definitely, for a lot of people, need to put it on the calendar.
I was meeting with a woman for the first time as she was preparing to retire because she was about to elect Medicare as well. And when I asked her, I'm like, congratulations, you're going to be retiring soon. How do you feel? The first thing she said to me was, I'm nervous I'm going to be on my phone all day long. she had that awareness where a lot of people don't have that awareness. And I appreciated that. And then we started talking about groups and getting involved in our social circle. So it's a great conversation to have, and have that conversation, because I also feel like people could be afraid to say that. Oh, I scroll on my phone all day long. That's a scary topic to approach within a social circle. But making that a part of your awareness and planning for it, we're providing tools for you to circumvent and learn what is available. We can get ahead of that.
Yeah, I think it's like anything. If you leave it to chance, there is a chance that you could find that emotional connectivity. There is a chance that you can find that purpose in retirement. There's a chance that your retirement looks like what you always thought it would. But if you plan for it, there's a lot higher probability that you will have the retirement that you wanted to, not only financially, but also from a lifestyle standpoint, and have all the emotional connections that you never even thought was possible in that type of phase of your life. And it's the planning that really allows that to happen with a lot higher probability for most people.
Let's talk about planning for retirement, because I want to show the Retire Secure Roadmap. This is a really great visual representation of what planning for retirement looks like. And you see that beautiful map there. That first stop, Loren, is lifestyle. That's the first conversation you often have with people. You ask them, what do you want to do in retirement? Then you move through that map and help them plan for the rest of the essential pillars.
The lifestyle are the dreams. It's the things that you're thinking about, the fun stuff. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about here, it is the fun stuff, but it also involves the not so much fun stuff. It's life, good and bad. And then the other 5 pillars are the financial pillars that enable you to have that lifestyle that you wanted to. So of course you need income when you retire. You need a tax plan to make sure you can decrease your overall retirement tax bill. You need a healthcare plan, you need an investment plan, and of course you need a legacy plan. Those 5 pillars enable you to live the lifestyle that you want to. 6 pillars in the Retire Secure Roadmap.
Yeah, and we're talking about the mental aspects of this. I know you've handed a lot of these plans to people. I mean, it's a physical plan. The retirement planners hand a binder with all of these tabs, and you talk about the mental aspect. A lot of people are just so happy when you hand them that plan, and it's that you can retire, and here's what it looks like.
Well, it's the smiles happen because of the details. Details equal smiles when we're talking about something so important as the rest of your life and how you are going to be able to afford this rest of your life. You have very specific ideas about what you want your retirement to look like. That plan gives you the confidence, the roadmap to enable you to have that. So yeah, when we're delivering that plan, for most people, that is the very first time they've ever seen a written roadmap to how they're going to be able to accomplish the rest of their life. And how important and happy that can make somebody is just incredible.
The first section of the plan that we deliver is the lifestyle, and that does bring a smile to people's faces. It's their goals and their objectives, their hobbies that we've planned for within it, and this is why we call it the heart of their overall plan. It's our compass that guides those other financial aspects to provide support to the heart of their overall plan. We love seeing those smiles.
Okay, so a lot of people are watching thinking, I like that smile. I like that sense of accomplishment that comes with building a retirement plan, but I don't know where to start. And I think if they're sitting at home with those feelings, a Retire Ready call is a great way to get this process started.
It's a great way because it's easy and it doesn't cost you any money. It's literally a 15 to 20 minute phone call direct with a retirement planner where you get to talk about the things you're concerned about. What are you thinking about for your retirement? What are your dreams? And then from a financial standpoint, are there opportunities for you to implement strategy to help you achieve those dreams? And it's a very simple call. You have a lot of fun most of the time as you get to explore the different avenues of how you are going to be able to fulfill your dreams from a financial standpoint. But again, it's easy, it's complimentary, and it doesn't take much time. One of the hardest things about retirement planning, and one of the reasons most people don't have a retirement plan, is how do you get started? Get started with the Retire Ready phone call.
You can get started today at retirereadycall.com. Once you get there, you see a calendar. Look for a time and a date that works for you, and then you can have a conversation with a retirement planner. It's low-key. You can ask what's on your mind when it comes to your retirement. This is Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
If you've enjoyed this video, click here for more content. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can be connected with others just like you who are looking for entertaining retirement strategies.